Talking football. If you are just now joining us, we would love to tell you that we're here every single Wednesday at noon. We redid our show schedule at Dave Campbell's Texas Football. So you've got Texas Football today with myself and Greg Tepper on Mondays and Thursdays at noon. ROF with Mallory and the whole college crew Tuesdays. We're here Wednesday. And then I believe, Vienna, you can speak to this because you're going to be the producer. Not starting this week, but next week, Tep and Step. We're rolling that on a video version on Fridays?
Yes, every Friday. Well, exclusively audio only on Mondays, I believe. Mondays. And then on Friday, you'll get the video.
Yeah, it is still a subscriber podcast. So if you want it on Monday to gear up for the Texas High School football week ahead with the Nerdcast, then make sure to listen to it Monday. But if you are not a subscriber and want to tune in on Fridays, we will have that live in video form. So today,
and who wouldn't want to see Step's face and Tepper's face?
This
and most importantly, V's face.
This is the whole reason that we're doing it. Is I had so many angry complaints from all the ladies that Matt Stepp's face was not on camera.
No one wants to see our faces.
No, they only want to see Matt Stepp.
Matt Stepp, not even Tepper's, really.
No, I've never wanted to see Tepper's face in my day in my life.
I don't either.
So anyway, on today's episode, what are we? Episode 71? 71, I believe. We're going to do a couple of things. One, we are going to, we'll start in the back half of the show. In the back half of the show, we're going to give you an outlook on the 2024 Texas High School football, picking a couple of sleeper picks, picking a couple of coaches to watch out, but we'll get you geared up because the next week is when we'll start our regional breakdowns going through all 21 regions across the state of Texas. So we'll get on that next week. Yes. And so before then, we want to tell you about why we were in Austin, why we were in Houston, why we've been traveling all over the state, and then give you an outlook on some things to keep in mind coming to Dave Campbell's Texas Football and Dave Campbell's Texan Live in the upcoming season. So we have been traveling fools. And it is because football season is next week. We're getting geared up for that. And to do that, we wanted to go visit with our crews across the state for Dave Campbell's Texan Live. And a lot of fun was had at our Houston kickoff and our Austin kickoff. DFW coming Thursday.
Yes, DFW coming Thursday. I think they were both great successes. And I always love going down to those events too, because we always see the names of our broadcasters and our camera operators in the Houston and the Austin area, but it's just nice to put a face to a name, because we see them scheduling out working these games all the time. We see them listed in Jesse's spreadsheet always, you know, when we're going through picking games for our spotlight on Texas Football Tonight, but you never really get to meet them in person. So it's always fun to go down there and meet a lot of new people too. Every single year there's always a couple new faces that we get to meet. Of course, we've got the OGs of the Houston, the Austin branch, but we always see new faces when we go down there. So they're always just a lot of fun, and you learn a lot too.
Oh yeah, a lot of budding young broadcasters too, especially in the Austin area. A lot of UT students are down there. Obviously, we have Texas Football Tonight, which we'll get into in a minute, but that's a big chunk of our DFW broadcasters or college-age kids that get to do that. And then it's a lot of guys that do it because they love doing it. Yeah, they absolutely love doing it. I had in the Houston branch, one of our fantastic broadcasters, Tom Vinay, came up to me and he said Tom had some health issues earlier this year, and he goes, I'm just so excited to be here. And he goes, I mean here as in alive, but I also mean that this is something that I love to do. And he told me, he goes, a lot of people go, Tom, you're getting a little bit older, when are you going to stop doing this? And he goes, the day that it feels like a job is when I'll stop doing it. And he's like, it's not a job, it's a passion. Right. So I think that's really cool. And then I think it's really cool too to tell them that the coverage that they bring on Dave Campbell's Texan Live, covering as far as, obviously, how many football games we do, a ton of them throughout the year, but it's so much more than that too. There's swimming, there's water polo, there's soccer, there's volleyball, there's softball. They're touching so many athletes across the state of Texas, boys and girls, helping them get noticed by college scouts, bringing grandma that lives out of state the opportunity to watch her grandson or granddaughter play the sports and all of that. And I think that it is just so cool to get to remind them hey, you're making a difference by doing this. And so I think it was really, really cool to see everybody.
Yeah, and like you mentioned earlier, in the Austin area, there's a couple of new faces that we have, young eager students, right, that want to just hop on the mic. But then in the Houston area, we've got two guys that have been doing this for going on 10 years now. Brent Hallmark and then Michael Silvers.
Yeah, 10 years together.
10 years together.
Yeah, Silvers has been doing it for about 24 years, I think, in total. But yeah, the two of them have been broadcasting. They primarily broadcast the Katy High games.
Yes.
So they've been doing Katy High games together for 10 years now.
Yeah.
On Texan Live. So
which is so crazy. I mean, like I started tearing up when I heard him talk about that. It's just really cool to see how excited people get for the season. And they all really like each other too. They all, and it's fun to like listen in on the conversations that they have, because they're all about, high school football and what games are you excited to watch this year? Oh, you got to watch, Katy Pato. Like they're going to be really good this year.
And the wealth of knowledge.
It makes you excited too. The wealth of knowledge.
Oh,
in
do you
those
remember
rooms.
that in 2008 when so-and-so, I heard someone talking the other day, and they were like, no, that was the game in 2003. And I was like, I was like 5.
Yeah. Well, and we were talking to Russell Mabin at the Austin kickoff, and he does all the Belton games, and he was like, like we're gonna miss Micah Hudson down there at Lake Belton, but man, we've got some budding stars. We're not going away, and it's like, oh, that's just so exciting. It just makes you ready for the season, geared up for the season. So I love those events.
Oh, me too.
And I'm really excited to do the DFW one on Thursday.
Tomorrow. Yeah.
So can't wait to see all our broadcasts.
Thursday.
I
don't know what day
Thursday?
it is.
I was like, is today Thursday? No, today's Wednesday.
And VNA, this was your first time attending these kickoff events, so I'm sure it was fun to get to meet everybody, put faces to a name, but it was so funny watching V shake these people's hands and then go, oh, like I know exactly who you are.
Yeah, it was pretty cool just to see everyone, getting to meet everyone. And I think it's also really important just to moving, if I'm going to get more involved with getting closer with all the broadcasters, I think it's really important to meet them in person. Like that's the number one way to build those connections and do better at my job.
Yeah, so it truly was a blast for everyone that was there. We love working with you guys, but it's fun. It's funny too, because we always talk about the magazine being like, oh, that's kind of when our football juices get flowing. That magazine reveal show that we do on Texas Football Today, I'm like, okay, we're getting close. But I always know that when we are on the road traveling to see all of our Texan Live friends, that it's like, oh no, we're here. Like we are back. We've never been more back.
Yeah, we have a week until the season. Like kickoff is 8 days away, and that's so exciting. Yeah, and it just gets you geared up for the season. And man, I'm ready now. Yeah. I'm ready.
So I'm hoping that y'all are as ready as we are, and you can do that by going to TexanLive.com/subscribe. We do over 1,900 streams, not just of football, of every other sport that the UIL offers. But gear up for the Texas high school football season. TexanLive.com/subscribe. You can watch 1,900 games for $49.95 a year, and that also includes magazines being shipped to you. It includes all of the subscriber content on the website. So if you want to hear Matt Stepp's thoughts on literally everything, you can do that by becoming a subscriber. So go ahead. It includes both the streaming package and everything Dave Campbell's Texas Football. It is a steal, people. So we hope that you will do that. One other thing that we want to get you super excited about is year 2 of Texas Football Tonight, Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight. If you haven't watched it before, it is a 2.5-hour live red zone style show that we do. On the desk will be myself, Greg Tepper, and Ishmael Johnson. Running the whole show is Mallory Hartley and Vianney Moreno, but we dive into a ton of high school football games, giving you live look-ins at everything that's happening across the state, highlights, reaction. It is guys being dudes, and I lump myself into that.
It is chaotic in the best way possible.
Yeah.
I mean, in all aspects. I mean, we pick, if you guys aren't familiar, we pick 6 games to really dive into and follow throughout the entire night. But then also, we're diving into a bunch of other different games. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're sitting in the control room pulling up different scores. Like, oh, Lake Belton's really close. Like they're about to score on with whoever. Mm-hmm. Like, let's dive into that game, even though it's not our spotlight game. It's just, it is, like I said, chaos in the best way possible.
Absolutely.
In the control room and on the desk.
And on the desk. I was just going to say, so we're going to do it a little bit different. If you watched it last year, we're doing it a little bit different. We're going to take more of some of you Dave Campbell's fans might be familiar with this, but more of a watch along aspect. So it's going to be me, Tepper, and Ish just broing out,
just guys
watching
being
ball,
literally guys being dudes. I'm going to be screaming in your ear the whole night. be more relaxed.
So we are incredibly excited. Obviously, we do this in partnership with the University of North Texas. So if you watch this, it is free on TexanLive.com every single Friday night from 7:30 to 10. And we bring you the best in-state highlights that you can find. So we are very excited for that, and then very excited to have a team of 21 North Texas students operating the show with us, which is, I know that we've all talked about it. Our favorite part of this show is watching the students be able to come in and learn and take this internship. We actually go up to the UNT on Tuesday nights. We go teach a class. We do all of our pre-production. So it's a big passion project, I think, for all three of us. And we hope that y'all enjoy it as much as we do.
Yeah, we actually got to meet all of the students last week on a Zoom call, helping them get set up for the internship and everything. And it just reminds you that that's the same program that you and I and VNA also went through, at the University of North Texas. And to have, I mean, I would have killed for an internship like this in college. But it's just really cool to kind of give back to the program that gave us so much, gave us our starts in our careers, our early starts in our careers. And it's just, it's a really cool feeling every single year when you meet those students for the first time and you're like, we're ready.
Yeah, and we're able to offer a couple of them scholarships at the end of the year too. So y'all viewing it and going to TexanLive.com/subscribe and all of that goes to helping out these students and bringing what we do here to life. So we hope that y'all are excited. Again, like we said, for the start of the football season. We know we are, which is exactly why we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to dive into some Texas high school football talk.
I feel like bustin' loose, bustin' loose. Come on, get on up. Oh yeah, get on up. Bustin' loose when you wanna say. I feel like bustin' loose, bustin' loose. Come on, get on up. Oh yeah.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Potter, Executive Director of Be Well Texas. Too many people are struggling alone these days, and alcohol and drug deaths are increasing. We started Be Well Texas to offer high-quality, science-based addiction treatment and recovery services anywhere, even at home. We provide compassionate, caring support virtually or in person. In many cases, there is no cost for treatment if you don't have insurance. Really. Welcome to Be Well Texas. We're glad you're here.
Wing is the largest residential drone delivery provider in the world, delivering to your home in less than 30 minutes. Order using an app just like other popular delivery services, and Wing's automated drone takes care of the rest. It's fast, safe, and sustainable, and it's now delivering to parts of Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas. You can learn more at wing.com/TexasFootball. Again, that's wing.com/TexasFootball.
Welcome back in to Women Talking Football. There are three of us. We're women, and we're talking football, and that's exactly what we're going to do right now as we gear up for the 2024 Texas high school football season. So we have 4 categories we broke into, and we're going to go through each one. The first one will be a sleeper team, who we think is a good sleeper team. Can make some noise. The next one, if you had to choose today which team that you think is most likely to grab a state championship this year, who would it be? A player that people are going to want to keep an eye on, and then a coach that you're going to want to keep an eye on. So we will start with our sleeper. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. I picked the Tyler Lions.
Okay.
Yeah, out there in East Texas. I actually went to a Tyler game last year. If you remember, it was McKinney North versus Tyler High.
Nice.
And that was a really good game. Tyler jumped out pretty early on, and McKinney North came back and made it a really, really good game. This is year 2 under Rashawn Woods, and he really turned that program around. I mean, that's a program that's been kind of struggling the past couple of years, and he went 6-4 in his first year with the Lions, and they're returning 13 starters transfers from last season. That's including their quarterback, who he is fun to watch.
Yeah.
He's a little bit on the shorter side, I will say that, but man, that dude can sling it. Carter and I, we love him.
Yeah.
We actually got to see Tyler also play at the Arlington SQT a couple months ago, and he was there. So he's a really, really fun player to watch. They're going to be solid on the offensive side of the ball. They also have this young receiver. He's a sophomore receiver, Trey Harrelson. A couple of Power 4 offers, but that's going to be a dynamic duo to watch there in Tyler. And I think that they could probably make some noise, probably get back to the playoffs and make some noise there. I've got their schedule.
Did they didn't move up. They still stayed 581, correct?
Yes, they're 5A D1. They just moved into with realignment and everything, they moved into a different district, not a realigned district.
Well, because most of it, weren't they in the Forney,
McKinney North was also
Longview things?
Yes.
Because that's what was crazy is that district 7-5AD1, I think.
7-5AD1, because Longview, Lancaster,
and who was the other one? Longview, Lancaster.
Yeah.
One other one. They all three moved. Forney was the other one. They all three moved up to 6A, and that completely combusted that death of a district, which was odd enough when you have the travel aspect mixed into that. One, you're playing really good teams. Two, you've got the travel mixed into that. That was one of my favorite districts to watch.
Yeah, I think so too. And I don't know if this district is going to be easier for Tyler, but I think this schedule is definitely manageable. Non-district's definitely manageable, but then they've got the tough ones. You got Highland Park, you got to play, and then you end the season with Red Oak. So, and then they played Midlothian, but I don't think Midlothian's as strong as they were last year. But I think that they could definitely at least make the playoffs. Yeah. I think it's up there with that returning class coming back. I think that they could definitely at least make it to the playoffs and maybe make a run.
Nice.
So Tyler Lions, keep your eye on them.
5A Division 1. Let's go District 6 of 2A Division 2. Let me introduce you to the Seymour Panthers. Okay.
Let me see more than Panthers.
See more touchdowns is about what you're gonna see. Oh, boo!
Boo! You stay.
Boo this woman. The Panthers bring back one of the most prolific offenses that you will see in 2A Division 2. So first off, they're dropping down to 2A Division 2. They bring back, so head coach Dan Lloyd, his son Braden Lloyd, 6'2", 200-pound quarterback in 2A Division 2. This guy can sling it.
Yeah, and we always talk about those types of players in those smaller classifications. I mean, that can make or break a team.
Yeah, over 3,500 passing yards last year.
Instant impact.
47 passing touchdowns. That was last year alone. So he's a year older, and his top two wide receivers are coming back in Isaac Wilden and Brayson. I think it's Zizelle is how you say it. The interesting thing, and the game that I will have circled on my calendar for Seymour is against Windthorst. Their district bunkmate. Yeah. I think that one is going to be very, very fun to watch. I think
that's their district opener, it looks like, is Windthorst.
Yeah, so you're going to know right off. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I would say right off the bat, you're going to know who's the heavy front runner for a district championship. We have Seymour second in that district in 6-2A Division 2, but I think if anyone can really, really get going, it's that core there with Braden Lloyd leading the charge. So that's my sleeper. I'm big. Pencil me in as big on Seymour.
Seymour than
big
Panthers.
Seymour girl.
Yeah, I like that. They're playing Albany too in non-district play.
Which rocks.
That's going to be and we don't know what Albany's going to be this year without Adam Hill. Going to Texas Tech. So
Denny Faith will figure something out.
Denny Faith always does.
And we said this last year, and I'm going to say it again, so it's on wax. The fact that man is not retiring has me high on Albany.
Oh yeah.
Why would he stay?
I know I've got a team coming back. I think I could go three-peat here.
He has been doing this for decades.
Yes.
Why would he stay and do another season if he didn't know that he had ball players?
Right.
So a great test for Seymour early on before getting into that district game against Windthorst. They'll be battle tested for sure. Just need to stay healthy. But Braden is a heck of a player.
Yeah.
So Seymour, that is my sleeper. All right. Up next, if you had to pick one team that you would say right now on August 21st, they're winning a state championship, who are you picking?
I think there are two teams that you can absolutely say that you feel pretty confident about taking a state championship title this year. And I think one of them is Duncanville. It is really
how risky of you.
Yeah, I know. I mean, that should be my sleeper pick, honestly.
Really going out on a limb.
It's just so hard to bet against talent. The talent that they have coming back is, I mean, at quarterback, you've got Keelan Russell, obviously, was an SMU commit, flipped to Alabama. You've got probably the best player in the entire state in Decorian Moore, Oregon commit. You've got great defensive players coming back, like Javion Holiday, of course, and then KJ Ford, he's a young player, Tyron Polley. You just have such core key players coming back, and they just seem to reload every single year. Yep. It's hard to bet against Coach Samples. I think he's going to three-peat. And of course, they're going to go D1, so they're not going to have to worry about DeSoto again, because DeSoto will probably go. Well, they will be D2.
They will definitely go
They'll
D2.
Definitely go D2 when it comes to the playoffs. I think they're going to dominate that schedule like they did last year. The DeSoto game will be fun. I'm really excited to see that district DeSoto game.
Yes,
but I think that they're a lock for another state title.
So keeping the trend going of making wild, crazy accusations that will absolutely come back to haunt us.
Is this going to shock me? Is this going to absolutely shock me?
It's absolutely going to shock you. I picked DeSoto.
Who's DeSoto?
Never heard of him.
Oh, I haven't either.
Claude Matt.
That doesn't ring a bell.
Mathis? Does that make
Oh! Claude Mathis for the DeSoto Eagles. One of the best the best team in the entire state. Yeah, I remember that.
So going out on a huge limb here.
Crazy.
I do. You know what's funny about it though, and this is something that I feel like we got proven last year more than ever, is how hard it truly is to go for a three-peat in the state championship.
We saw it with South Oak Cliff. Yeah.
South Oak Cliff. Holly was Albany. Yeah, there was quite a few of them last year that were going for the three-peat, and it didn't happen. And I think that is something, especially when you're talking about a team that went 16-0, won every single game. You haven't truly, I mean, they were one of the most battle-tested teams last year just based off of their schedule and all of that stuff, pound for pound, because I think it was easy to say that Duncanville, DeSoto, top two teams in the state. They won the head-to-head matchup, easily the best Texas high school football team in the state. They're coming back. Tiger Ryden is back. You've got
Booby Feaster, one of the best players in the entire state.
Dalen Singleton. Heck, you've got Byron Washington on the offensive line again. The 6'8" monstrosity. They are so loaded, it's not even funny. And we thought last year they were good. Give these guys another year. Not to mention that Tiger Ryden had over 1,000 yards rushing. That was just in the postseason. He was injured for almost all season last year. So, I mean, truly, truly incredible stuff by DeSoto. If I had to pick one, I think that they are the ones that are able to grab that really tough three-peat.
Yeah, I think so too. It's going to be fun. I can't wait for that head-to-head matchup against these two teams. I mean, it's always obviously the game of the week. Yeah. But I don't know. This year, star power against star power, I don't. And if you were to pick, who do you think is going to win that head-to-head matchup? Let's go ahead and make a prediction now.
Oh man.
In the district slate, I'm going to go Duncanville. I think they come back for revenge.
I do too. I think that there are too many guys on the Duncanville roster that remember last year. If it was a kind of a fresh slate and they were still loaded because they're Duncanville and they always are, they don't want to lose to them again. That still burns.
Oh yeah.
That still burns. Yeah. And us too, sitting here and saying that pound for pound for the past year, DeSoto was the best team in the state of Texas. That's something that that's bulletin board material. So I'll agree. I'll go Duncanville, and I guarantee you this clip is going to be cut and Claude Mathis is going to come after us.
I know.
Rightfully so. But Coach, we're going Duncanville. Happy to be proved wrong.
And I love about these two teams too. This is the last thing I'll say, but I love seeing how passionate these two teams are when they butt up against each other and they go after it. But then in the playoffs, when they're in different divisions, they are each other's biggest supporters.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it gives me goosebumps thinking about it. Like Coach Samples and Coach Mathis, they look like they're bros, and in the playoffs, you see that, them supporting each other. It's so much fun. I love these two teams. They're going to be fun to watch.
So there you go. Most likely lock for a state championship. Up next, players to watch. Pop off, Miss Recruiting.
Miss Recruiting. I like that. Okay. I went with you probably have heard this name before, but he's with a different team now. Anna, defensive back Zadian or Zay Gentry. He was at McKinney last year. He made a lot of noise at McKinney last year, but he decided to drop down a classification and go to the reigning state champions, the Anna Coyotes. I think he's going to make a lot of noise at Anna as well. He's stepping into a team that lost a couple of key players, but he's also stepping onto a team that he's going to make an immediate impact in. And they need him too. Yeah. Because as you remember last year, Anna was in 4A. They won the 4A D1 title. They are coming into a district that is a gauntlet. Week after week. And I have it up here. Oh yeah. Lovejoy, which we'll talk about in a minute. Melissa. Frisco Emerson. I mean, they're also playing Gunner too, which is crazy. But like that's a kid who's going to step into a team that's going to have to absolutely make an immediate impact.
That sounds like I always go back to this reference, but it's the most true reference in the entire world. Think about Brock every single year. Yeah. This is in 3 Division 1. We rank Brock every single year because rightfully so. And then they schedule the toughest non-district schedule out of like any team, and they lose, and they're 0-4, and people are going, why are they in the rankings? Y'all are stupid. And it's like, they are the best 0-4 team that you've ever seen. And then they go and they run through their district. And I mean, it's the same thing with South Oak Cliff. South Oak Cliff does the exact same thing. That's what that sounds like for Anna. They schedule so tough, so then they can try and run through their district and then have a long playoff run where you can say we're battle tested. But that is an insane district.
They've got they open up with a team from Tennessee. It looks like Oakland, Tennessee. Then they play. They have their state opener against Gunner, Lovejoy, then Melissa. Back to back to back.
Gunner versus Anna is like a sicko's dream. Like I love that.
Oh yeah, that'll be
love that.
That'll be fun to watch too because Anna obviously being in 5A now, it'll just be different. But yeah, Zadian Gentry, I think he's going to be. He played, so I think he can play both ways. But I was talking to Powers and he was like, yeah, at 7-on-7, he's definitely only a defensive player, so he's definitely going to be a defensive back. But he's definitely got some power for potential when it comes to the recruiting trail. So I think he's definitely going to be a player to watch. It'll be cool to see him play on a different type of team than McKinney.
No, that's sick. Mine is a player that I am so interested to see how this goes. Mr. 1A football himself, Grayson Rigdon, if you have not heard, obviously he won a title with Strawn his freshman year. And then he won 2 titles with Benjamin. He is going into his senior year, right? 2 titles with Benjamin?
Yeah, senior year.
He is a 4-time state MVP.
I can't even keep up with all his accolades because he just has so many.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And not only in football, in basketball too. This kid is just an athlete all around.
And so we kept saying, and it's just one of those things, it's like, okay, this is great. So many people, not us, we pay attention to 6-man football, but there's a lot of people out there that might say, oh, well, that's discredited because he's playing 6-man football and it's not 11-man football and blah, 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 blah. I can disagree with you on that. That being said, I am very interested. He has now moved to the land of the Shobles and is going to play in Columbus, which is fantastic 11-man football. We'll do some segments on this. We were talking with Powers the other day. 3A, which is like my dream, is loaded with recruits this year.
They really are.
Is loaded with recruits this year. So
stepping onto a team that is loaded with recruits.
Absolutely.
Adam Schobel at the helm there.
Yeah, so seeing Adam Schobel and Grayson Rigdon slinging it together is going to be fun. And the reason that I put him on my players to watch is because I think that he is a good enough athlete that the transition will work itself out.
I think so too.
That being said, it is different. And he will have other weapons around him.
Yes.
That's what I'm interested to see, is how does he adjust to not having to single-handedly take over every single game that he's in.
Right.
And that will be the interesting part.
I'm thinking that it's only going to make him a better player.
I agree.
Because he played every single snap, every single down at, I guess, it's Strawn too.
Yeah,
and then
everywhere he's been.
Benjamin, everywhere he's been. So I think this is going to make him a better player.
Yeah.
Well, and do we know what he's going to play at Columbus?
I don't.
Obviously, I think I bet you he's going to play both ways. I would not be shocked if
3A that happens.
3A that happens, and I think he is, like you said, a good enough athlete to play both ways. But I also wouldn't be shocked if he's just going to focus on one position because he does want to play at the next level.
Yeah,
he's currently committed to Air Force.
Air Force, yeah.
Air Force, but I think he's getting other looks. I think Texas Tech might be showing a little bit of interest in him as well.
Interesting.
So I would be interested to see if he does pick one position and stick with it in hopes of getting solid at that position to play at the next level.
Well, and the other thing is too is I feel like from his body type he would be well fit as a receiver at the 3A level.
Yeah, I think so too.
But
I think he'd be a great running back too.
In 6A or in 6-man football, primarily he was running the ball all the time. He's incredible when he breaks loose.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see that. Also in 6-man football, there's not much of a line in front of you, so it's all about the speed and finding the holes. Here,
Correct.
He's going to have to be more decisive. He's going to get hit harder.
Yeah.
He's going to have a whole line to go around. So that'll be very, very interesting to see which way they leave him. I would think receiver, but I'm not going to be surprised at all if they put him at a running back position.
Yeah, no. I wanted to look up their schedule. I wanted to see
for Columbus.
Yeah, for Columbus. That team's gonna be so much fun to watch. I'm gonna have my eye on.
Oh, it's great.
Sure.
That whole part of the state is so much fun to watch down there.
Yeah. We're gonna play Hitchcock. That's gonna be awesome. Oh, they opened up with Cuero.
Yep.
Cuero in Columbus, week 1 of the season.
Yeah, and you want to talk about a
hard-hitting
hit
football
in the mouth right out of the gate. Those gobblers are going to try to gobble him up.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, definitely. That's going to be a welcome to 3A.
Yeah,
welcome to 11-man ball. But that's going to be fun. Great pick. Great pick.
super just excited and curious to see how this goes.
Yes.
All right, to wrap it all up in gearing up for the 2024 Texas high school football season, which is just around the corner. Again, texasfootball.com/subscribe to get you completely geared up for the Texas high school football season. And we will do one last one, and that is a coach that you're very interested in seeing how their season goes.
This one was a pretty easy pick for me.
Okay.
I went with Lovejoy head coach Todd Dodge.
He's back. He's never been more back.
Does that name ring a bell?
Pretty successful.
If you remember, he took a year off after he won a state title with the
There's a schmale in the window.
Austin Westlake. He's trying to distract me, but he's not.
This is why it's called women.
This is why we
football.
don't allow men on this show.
Correct.
Because like Schmale.
Well, men in our office.
No, correct. Because
we can have guests on.
Yeah, because Trevor's been on before. Who else has been on as a male?
Oh, we've had a couple of different reporters on.
Powers has been on in a video. He hasn't actually been on, but he's been on a video. Anyways.
Thomas from Austin has been on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true. Anyways.
Schmale, it worked.
Distraction. It worked, Schmale. Congratulations. Anyway, I went with Todd Dodge at Lovejoy.
Yeah.
If you remember, he took a year off from coaching to be probably a grandfather. I mean, that's kind of what he wanted. He wanted to move back up to the DFW area after winning a state title.
I don't know if they call him Papaw, but he feels like a Papaw.
Yeah, I would think so. And I think that he probably watched his son Riley at Southlake coaching last year. He probably got to watch more of that because he was being, he was more of a dad and a grandfather. He could be because he wasn't coaching. And I bet he probably watched him a lot last year and was like, man, I miss this. I miss this.
My theory is that sweet Miss Elizabeth said, you're annoying me. Go back to coaching.
Which is probably more likely. Which is more likely. And he had already moved back up into the DFW area. And I think that he just didn't want to coach against Riley. So that eliminated 6A.
Yep.
His son. He probably wanted to take over a pretty strong perennial powerhouse program. And I think Lovejoy was the perfect fit for him. He took over for Chris Ross, who left to be a coach at SFA, which is awesome. We love SFA on the show. But I think this is a great gig for him.
Absolutely.
And Lovejoy is one of those programs that they're always in the conversations. They're always in the playoff conversations. they're right there. They're always on the cusp.
Right. They've fallen short.
But
the past handful of years.
Yes, they have fallen short. And if they can just get over that cusp, which I think a multi-state title winning head coach, Todd Dodge, can get them there.
Yeah.
He's coming into a stacked team led by one of the best receivers in the state, Dalen McCutcheon. I think that this might be the year. Maybe even next year. Maybe it might take a year.
Yeah.
But I think this year, too, because also Dalen McCutcheon, I think, is a senior. So
Going
probably want to
senior year,
capitalize on this stacked class here. This could be the year that we see Lovejoy jumping over that hoop.
Well, and this is prime Todd Dodge too. You think about his time at South Lake Carroll. You think about his time at Austin Westlake. They are one-horse towns that are city adjacent.
Yes.
They are in affluent communities.
Right.
And they bring in a lot of good prospects.
Yes.
So I think that this was by far the ideal situation. When we first started hearing the rumblings of this happening, we were like, that makes the literal most sense.
Yeah.
Out of anything that we could have.
Oh yeah. It was easy. It almost seems like a perfect fit, I would say. But yeah, I'm really, really excited to see him back in coaching and see what he can do and if he can make some noise.
Yep.
I mean, we just kind of talked about Lovejoy, but they're getting, that district is just a gauntlet. Anna, and then Melissa, like I said, Frisco, Emerson.
That's fun.
That'll be he's coming right out of the gate like, welcome back to coaching.
Yep.
Here's one of the toughest districts in the state.
Yep.
Like,
have fun, buddy.
It'll be fun to watch, but I think he's going to make some noise at Lovejoy. He's going to make a name for himself.
We're excited that he's back too.
I am too. I'm really excited.
I enjoy talking to that man on the sideline.
Yeah.
He's good people.
Yeah.
Great one. I don't think anybody in the state would disagree with you there. Mine is Jeremy Mullins. You might remember he led the Snake Farm, Toller, to the regional finals last year. Kind of came out of nowhere the past 2 years. Incredible coach, incredible what he did out there at Toller. And shockingly, we were all kind of taken aback by this one. We didn't expect him to leave. He's got some talent coming back and all of that.
Yeah.
But he took the opportunity to be the first head coach at the brand new school out in Saginaw ISD, Eagle Mountain High. So technically, their address is in Fort Worth. They're in District 3, 4A Division 2.
Beautiful facilities out there, too.
The whole school is really nice. It was a $270 million bond that they got passed to be able to build that campus.
Right.
It all looks great, but what a great person to go lead a brand new program. Obviously, we talk about it a lot. There's a lot of struggles that come with that. You usually only have freshmen and sophomores to work with. So very interested to see what he does there. The UIL didn't do them any favors, throwing them into a district with Brock, Graham, Mineral Wells. You better come out swinging because you don't have any other option. I think that there might be a little bit of early struggles there, like I said, with the younger kids, all of that stuff. But if there's anybody that knows how to go through a gauntlet of a schedule, how to coach kids up and get them to buy into a program, Jeremy Mullins is a great person for that. So very, very excited to see. They have a linebacker named Justin Fox. He actually played at Boswell, which was a 6A school last year. He had 68 tackles, 4 sacks on defense. So they've got a strong defensive side of the ball, I think, coming in, and definitely a leader of that program. So that'll be good. Interested to see what happens in the offense, because you remember Toller wasn't scared to sling it at all. And then they had that big old running back.
They were big.
Big.
I don't remember what his name, but yes, they were. I mean, I remember walking into that game. It was the regional finals.
It was the regional finals.
Yeah. Against Marlin. Marlin. We were at that game, us four.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing how big Toller was, and I was like, "This is a 2A program."
There's no way. Some of those guys were walking out, and I was like, "Oh my God!" I'm not a short girl. Right. I'm not short, and I was looking up to them, and I was like, "Oh my God, y'all are huge."
I know. That's what was so shocking about it. But this is the ultimate test to see how good of a coach you are, because it's much easier to lead a program that has talented kids, right? I mean, it just is. But starting a new program, you know, with young kids,
developing culture, and I think
developing the culture, developing these athletes.
And that's the funny thing about coaches is there are some coaches that are very much, hey, we're going to wipe the slate clean. Yeah. And I like the build. Once I get done building somewhere, I want to go somewhere else that I can build. Then there are other coaches where they're like, no, man, if it's an established program, like let's get in, let's hit the ground running and let's just go for it. And very clearly, Jeremy Mullins is one of those guys that likes to start from scratch and build on up. And that says a lot, I feel like, about the human you are, even more so than like the coach that you are. So very excited to see that.
Yeah, it'll be that's a great pick. Really, really good pick. Well, and I always get curious too when starting these new football programs and these new schools and stuff, how do you like decide which kids are going to go where? I mean, I assume it's based off of home address, but it's like, that's got to be weird, like you just said, like the linebacker that played at Boswell. It's like he was playing for a varsity program at one school. Now he's going to play for a whole new varsity program this year, and they're probably going to play each other. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. It's cool, weird, interesting strange for the kids, I'm sure.
Yeah, I know. I always think about that, though, when new programs start. I'm like, how does that work?
Yeah, that's actually something that I never thought about because we were in Atlanta. We were a one-horse town. Like, there ain't nothing opening up. Right. You don't need a new school. Like, you have one high school and one middle school. Right. We didn't need another school.
Yeah,
So, different perspective. Yeah. So, there you go. A little bit to get you geared up for the 2024 Texas high school football season. We want to encourage you one more time. Go to texasfootball.com/subscribe. If you're going to do it, now is the time. Hundreds of live football games. You get the magazine shipped to you in the summer. That will count into your subscription this year. And then all of the content, premium podcasts like Tep and Step. It's the whole enchilada. You get the salsa, you get the chips, the guac, the creamy jalapeno ranch. Like it is all of
awesome.
it. Awesome. So that's all we got. We will be back for game week next week.
This is our last WTF of the off season.
Yeah, we're in season next week. Season. So come back, watch us on Wednesday, and then Tepper and go ahead.
I was gonna say we'll reveal our spotlight games too next Wednesday for week 1 of Texas football. Dave Cable's Texas football tonight. So very excited for that.
But before then, we will see you tomorrow, Tepper and I, on Texas Football Today. We'll catch y'all next time.